You are looking for a romantic getaway to one of the most beautiful parts of France. Head just a short drive outside of Paris. I think you said, what, an hour outside? Into the lush Loire Valley for a wine, history, and romance-filled adventure. Our wine and spirits expert and founder of Dallas Uncorked, Hayley Hamilton Cogill, is here to tell us about your recent trip there.
Yes.
Boy, your job is just so tough, isn't it?
Well, it was a really amazing trip, and I feel so lucky to have these opportunities, and then to be able to come back and kind of share some of my experiences.
Yes, so you went to this beautiful region.
It's a stunning region, about an hour and a half outside of Paris. It's almost 300 kilometers long. We had a map up just a second ago. It's a very large area, and we really went from one side to the other. And if you go from maybe central France out towards the Atlantic, that's the region we're talking about. And it's the wines of Sancerre, it's the wines of Vouvray, the wines of Quincy and Rouly and Muscadet and all of these kind of wines that have great history. The nobility in France really drank these wines early on. We're looking at the village of Sancerre right now. This is actually a picture of some of the Sauvignon Blanc vines that are in the Sancerre region. And what I have in my hand is a piece of silex or flintstone, and that's what gives some of these Sauvignon Blanc wines that kind of smoky gunpowder note. Silex is what flint is made from. So if you think about hitting two pieces of flint together to actually make a campfire or something like that, that's some of the aroma that we get.
And this is what I think is so interesting about wine tasting, is kind of identifying those
aromas
flavors
and those flavors, and that's where I really think, and that's why some of these wines, they do make red wines in the Loire Valley, but they're really known for their whites. So basically, Sancerre is the region of Sauvignon Blanc, and like I said, Pouilly-Fumé is the sister kind of region right across the Loire River from Sancerre, and those are those Sauvignon Blancs that have great acidity, lots of minerality, but also that kind of smokiness. Tropical fruit, stone fruit, some of those different notes. What we have in our glass is actually
what I had in my glass. Sorry,
is from the Quincy part, which is just a little bit further down the Loire River, and that's really what you're doing throughout this whole region, is following the river into the Atlantic. Again, these limestone soils, the clay, the Kimmeridgian marl that adds a lot of minerality and a lot of kind of texture to these wines that also have just the inherent Sauvignon Blanc characteristics of lychee and gooseberry and tropical fruit and some of those things.
And then there's something about the history of everything. And so the stories that you tell about some of the vineyards, and you said that the Germans came in and basically burned all the vineyards, right?
They really destroyed them. It was both this area during the Revolution, it's where a lot of the great wine had come from in France pre-Revolution. Then you go into phylloxera, which devastated the wines, which is a disease that really hit the wines, so they had to go and replant. And then you have both World War I and World War II, and it's not far from Normandy. It's not far from kind of one of the main area battlegrounds. So and there are amazing chateaus, just some of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. And so the Germans did occupy a lot of this land, and so they went into the chateaus and they occupied them. They destroyed the vineyards, but they saved the homes. And so that there is some good things, but something that's come of that, and as we move down a few of the wines from Vouvray and then into Muscadet. The Vouvray, another tiny kind of region called Saumur that's coming on. Those are your Chenin Blanc vineyards, your Chenin Blanc vines. And we think of Chenin sometimes as being a little bit sweet. Again, because of the great acidity and minerality that these wines have, it's actually very dry. And so you do have really, really incredible tropical fruit notes. You have a lot of those kind of peach and apricot with pineapple, with lychee fruit. And then into Muscadet, which is really one of the closest area to the Atlantic that's very, very, very acidic. Think of what you drink with oysters. Think of what you drink with shellfish. And think about what you really drink for that particular region.
I get what you're saying about the minerality, and that's and you said steely, and it's like very sharp, very sharp tasting.
Exactly. And the nice thing also, because of all of this devastation that did happen in the region, so many of the chateau owners, as they've gone in and replanted, are really doing it sustainably. So they're also very green, kind of focused on bringing in kind of the Mother Mother Nature at her very best.
It just looks beautiful.
And this particular chateau that I just fell in love with, Chateau de Villeneuve, we actually had a bottle of 1945 Chenin with him that his father had made, basically because we were the nice Americans that helped save his chateau from the Germans during World War II.
Oh, that gives me chills. So he was like honoring the people, the Americans who had saved.
Yeah, it was really.
him.
And then I've got just a picture of cheese, and Gary actually came and joined me in Paris at the end of it, because the cheese of this region, the Chavignon goat cheese, is some of the finest goat cheese in the world. I can't grab a bottle, get some cheese.
I want to be you, just for a month, just for your next trip. Where are you going to next?
I'm going to Italy in 2 weeks, to Alto Adige. Yeah.
Just stop. I'm jealous. You can get details about all these great wines by going to thebroadcasttv.com. Click on today's links for a link to Hayley's website, and then you can watch this segment again to learn more about the wines that she brought today. And we're going to be back with more broadcasts in a moment. Cheers.